What is up, YouTube? I'm GOAT74 here, bringing you guys week 8 of the PTL. This week we're taking on Potato Jim, coach of the Jaggronmeisters. He's got the coolest logo basically in the league so far that I think. We're going into this game with a 6-1 record, while my opponent is going into this game with a 2-5 record. To recap for you guys what happened last week, we did win in a narrow 1-0 victory, and hopefully we can continue to win in this league. 6-1 is really good so far. We can't go negative, so hopefully we can try and go positive. This introduction is going to be a little bit long because I do have a short PSA for you guys, but if you guys want to skip this, you can just, skip ahead or whatever, but I do want to talk about something before I get into this video. I want to tell you guys about the playoff system in the PTL. First off, the playoff system. The way it works is that there's 4 teams in the PTL. We're a part of the GOAT Crusaders. 6 members of the top team make the playoffs, then the 4 members of the second place team makes it, and then the 3rd and 4th both get 2 members, while the final 2 playoff slots go to just the best 2 overall, not included in this system. Now that's pretty cool overall. However, what I don't really like about this is that it doesn't really matter what team you're on at this point, because that's how you make it into playoffs, but afterwards it's just a free-for-all like a normal playoff system. You can face people on your own team. And I personally wasn't a big fan of this, and I'm not really a big fan of it. I don't see why we can't either lose as a team or win as a team. I brought up the idea in one of the GOAT Crusaders server that it could be more like a gauntlet where it works like normal, but if you face each other, you can't face each other. Someone else will have to go through it, and if they beat all of them, and then they can win. But this is how it is, so I just wanted to mention that that's how it works. Not really happy about it, but that's how it works. Regardless, we're going to go with it. Another point I wanted to bring up before I get into the actual video is about Aquarius. We all found out about the playoff system in the GOAT Crusaders server at the same time because Zombie did post about it, and most of us, if not all of us, were pretty not happy with how the system was brought up, of course. The next day, Aquarius did go into the PTL server and sort of argue about the faulty system, and Aquarius got a decent amount of backlash, and it was enough for me to want to talk about it in this video. I truly believe it was uncalled for. I do get that Aquarius is pretty passionate about their opinions sometimes and doesn't always look or acknowledge the other side of arguments. However, in this case, I really do believe that Aquarius was right to question this system, and it was just really sad to see how that went down. Basically, just shame on the people who went after Aquarius's character over the argument, because they were just going after Aquarius and not the argument that they were presenting. I really think that's unfair and uncalled for. No hate to Jack or Gray, the league commissioner of this league. I love Jack. He's a really cool guy, but I really wasn't happy with how the situation was panned out, and it's not Aquarius' fault whatsoever. I support Aquarius in this situation. But that is it for the PSA, and that's the long intro. I apologize, that was really long for you guys. But we are going to move into the actual portion of this video and look at my opponent, Potato Jim's team. He does have Rain on his team, which is cool this week, and he has a Fairy Dragon Steel Core that's pretty okay against my team. It's pretty good. So let's break down his team. My opponent Jim this week has a team consisting of Pelipper, Dreadnought, Vikavolt, Haxorus, Alcremie, Doublade, Hitmontop, Indeedee, the male version, Ludicolo, and Sneasel. Now I expect him to consist of Pelipper, Vikavolt, Haxorus, Doublade, Indeedee, and Ludicolo. He could drop Indeedee for the Dreadnought, because Dreadnought's Head Smash is stupid spammable against my team, but outside of that, those are the big 7 mons. Even Alcremie could maybe come, but I don't see it being the greatest thing in the entire world here. But that's on his team. He's got a few of them. Again, Head Smash Dreadnought, it's just I have a really hard time switching into. Vikavolt is really hard to switch into as well. Basically, I don't have a switch in if it's specs. And then Haxorus. If Weezing goes down, Haxorus gets up a Dragon Dance and just wins this game. And that's really scary for my team. I had to prep around it a lot, and in order to prep around it a lot, I had to open myself up to a few other mons, like stuff like the Vikavolt. The Ludicolo is a pretty big threat as well, and other stuff as well. It's just the Haxorus was a really big threat to my team. Rain itself isn't too bad because I do have Vanillix to change the weather, which, spoiler, I am going to do this week, and I also have a Rotom Wash, so it's not the worst thing in the entire world. Weezing's really good to wall the stuff that I didn't mention, like Hitmontop and Sneasel. I don't see coming just because Weezing is so good against them. But that is basically my opponent's team in a nutshell. Any other notes I have for this team? Doublade's annoying to deal with offensively, but defensively it's not that bad, only because it's just so slow. And since it has no guard, I can't be missing my Will-O-Wisps, so that's pretty nice. And that is basically the rundown of my opponent's team. What I'm bringing to this game, it consists of Rotom Wash, Vanillux, Galarian Weezing, Espeon, Gliscopod, and Silvally Steel. First up on the team this week is going to be Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash is max HP with a decent amount of speed and some bulk. with the leftovers moves being Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. We can use post-home moves now because it is week 8 and past that. But Ruin Wash is really good against rain. It completely destroys the Pelipper. It's a really good switch into that. Dreadnought, well, I can't really switch into like a banded head smash or anything. It can deal with it 1v1 if I'm in on it. And Volt Switch was just really good in this game because my opponent lacks a ground type, and I felt like that would be very useful. Plus, I could get some boosted Hydro Pumps off against my opponent. He has a lot more physical attackers than special attackers, so I feel like Will-O-Wisp was good in that scenario, as it can hit like Doublade, Dreadnaught's useless, Hitmontop, Haxorus, which is big. And then I have Pain Split just to kind of keep my health up as much as possible. I've never used Pain Split Rotom Wash that well, or barely even used that at all when I used it in ABC. So hopefully maybe I can get some work out of it this time. I have some inexperience with Pain Split on this Mon. Second up is probably the most important member of the team is Vanillix. Vanillix is Choice Scarf with Timid Nature 228 speed. This is to outspeed a +2 Vigavolt, because a +2 Vigavolt is very scary for my team. With the moves Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Aurora Veil, and Explosion. I'm going to have a little bit of a hard time deciding whether I click Blizzard or Freeze Dry, depending on what he brings. I mean, if Doublade comes, I always click Blizzard, basically. But if he doesn't bring Doublade, then it's a lot easier for me to come in with Vanillix and click a button. It's just which one should I click. Freeze Dry is quad effective on Pelipper, Ludicolo, and it's super effective on Dreadnought. That is really big right there. I wanted Scarf to outspeed Haxorus, so I could just kind of nuke that thing, which is really nice. And I have a decent amount of bulk, so I always 2-ko Blizzard and take a hit from Vigavolt. I 2-ko basically everything on my opponent's team except for Doublade and I think Alcremie maybe, depending on what move I click. And that's why I felt like it was very useful. Finally, because I have Snow Warning, I'm able to set the Hail and just get rid of the rain, so Dreadnought and Ludicolo just don't run through my team with their water boosted attacks. So that was pretty cool. I like the fact that I have a Weather Setter as well on my team, and hopefully it puts in work this week. Third up on the team is going to be Glorian Weezing. Glorian Weezing is almost max defense with a little bit of speed. Enough speed to min speed of no speed Pelipper. I said speed so many times there. With the moves Strange Steam, Sludge Bomb, Fire Blast, and Will-O-Wisp. I have these moves for reasons, obviously. I have Shuka Berry because of Moldbrigger Earthquake. I want to be able to take that Hextras on 1v1 because, again, that thing is very scary for my team. Strange Steam is pretty spammable against his team. Sludge Bomb, so Alcremie never really wants to come in because I know a lot of Weezings don't end up running a poison move, but in this case I wanted one. And then Fire Blast just to actually hit the Doublade for a decent amount of damage, because if I burn it, I can basically 2-ko it after like some burn damage and, you know, whatever. I thought that was pretty nice. Nothing really wants to just switch into these attacks multiple times. It's a hard check to Hitmontop and Sneasel, and that is basically Glorian Weezing's job for this week. Fourth up is Espeon. Espeon is holding Choice Specs because that is basically my favorite item on this thing. Moves being Psychic, Shadow Ball, D-Gleam, and Toxic. This outspeeds the Haxorus. He has a really slow team. His only fast mon is Sneasel, and then his rain sweepers in the rain. So I don't think Sneasel is going to be coming, so I feel like Specs Espeon was really spammable in this game. I do have to be careful of, again, the Doublade is really annoying for my offense. Alcremie is pretty especially bulky, so it can always take hits. Indeedee, while it can take hits like somewhat fine, if it puts up the Psychic Surge for me, that only helps me out a lot. And then Vigavolt can always take one hit, so I do need a little bit chip on that first. But if his rain is like gone or he doesn't bring rain, I found out with Scarfers, this Espeon can come in and claim a lot of kills in this game, and I'm really hoping that's what it does in the end here. Fifth up is going to be Gliscopod. Gliscopod, I'm very skeptical about this set. It has First Impression, Liquidation, Knockoff, and Rockslide, and I have Choice Band. I'm not really feeling Choice Band because Pelipper and Hitmontop could still come, even though I don't think it is. Pelipper and Hitmontop basically hard wall this thing, and I don't like that because Pelipper sets up rain, and I just have to play around rain then, and Hitmontop comes in. That's not as big of a deal, but then I'm forced into Weezing basically every time, which I don't like either. So if I can avoid those scenarios, that'd be nice. He also has a Doublade for the First Impression switch in. I just really needed priority on this team to deal with the Haxorus and the Vigavolt respectively. Because I'm banded, I can only use First Impression once and I have to switch out. That's why I'm not really liking it. But I didn't want Life Orb on this set because of just, you know, how Life Orb is. And then anything less than that, the damage wasn't really doing too much. So I felt like the priority was nice. I'm not really feeling the band, but Gliscopod hopefully can put in work. And then finally, we have Sylvally Steel, which makes it onto the team almost every week and still doesn't have a kill this season. This has a lot of different EVs investment. This has Parting Shot, Defog, Multi-Attack, and Flamethrower. I originally had Toxic over Flamethrower, but I felt like if Vigavolt had Sub, then it just sets up all over me with Agility Sub. I don't think he's going to be that set, but I think he's going to be Agility. I don't think he's going to be Sub. But just in case he was, I didn't want to be caught with my pants down and just have nothing to hit that thing with. So I decided with Flamethrower in the end. And it's just here to switch into the Indeedee if it comes. The Vikavolt, I guess, is my best switch in. A way to deal without Creamy, and I guess Ludicolo. I don't really have a switch into Ludicolo either. That thing is low-key a threat against my team. It's just I do have Appleton, and Appleton is like a really good wall to Ludicolo, so I'm not sure if he's going to be bringing full offensive Ludicolo, or Ludicolo at all if he wants to go that route. I could easily just slap Appleton on this team. But that is the 6 Mons I am bringing. Appleton was 7th Mon, as I just mentioned. I'm feeling pretty good because Vanillix has a really good matchup here, as well as Rotom Wash, and hopefully they can beat down my opponent's Rain. Without further ado, we're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we have arrived at Pokemon Showdown. This is my second time recording this, so I apologize if my voice is a little bit dry. My opponent did not bring the Doublade, which is absolutely fantastic for me. He did bring the Dreadnought, so he is going full offense with the Rain. In regards to the lead, I am going to lead off with Espeon just because it looks really good here overall, and I expect the Pelipper to lead. He does lead with the Vikavolt though, which does sort of suck. My mindset is he's going to set up webs, so I'm just going to go for Psychic as it only does 60%, and like my PCP game, a Psychic type goes down turn 1. That was a really bad thought process because I have Magic Bounce, so I don't really see the point of going for Sticky Webs against that. That was really bad on my part. This thing is very specially bulky because it only took 60% from my Spec Psychic. The roll for a like max HP one or like a pretty bulky one was like 77%, so I'm kind of shocked that it did that little. Anyway, I go out into Pod and I first impression. I should have probably Liquidation there just because it would do more to Pelipper and Hitmontop. And assuming that the Vikavolt was really bulky, I'd outspeed it. But hey, I did make the wrong move, it's okay. This Hitmontop's not really a threat because I have the Weezing to switch in every time. It's not that scary, and I can just fire off a Will-O-Wisp. The Pelipper does come in, but that's fine. I can get some residual chip on this thing, which is, always nice to have. I don't want to stay in because Scald's going to do a lot to me. I don't have the T-Bolt on my Weezing this week. So I'm going to go on to Vanillix, make an aggressive play, and hopefully he just clicks like Scald or something. He clicks Hurricane, and he hits it. I did learn after the battle that it is still 70% accurate and not 50% like it is in Sun, so it does make a little bit more sense. But the health on Vanillix would have been really nice to take a hit from like Vikavolt or Ludicolo later if I needed to. So that sucks a lot. Hitmontop does come out here and intimidates me. Not really a big deal. I do click Freeze Dry though. I probably should have clicked Blizzard there, but it happens. I do freeze him, which is pretty lucky for me. Another freeze for the Freeze Dry. But it's not going to matter as I go out into the Weezing because I'm scared he's going to thaw out as he does. And he just clicks the Close Combat and it does nothing to my Weezing. And that's good because I can just fire off an attack now. Instead, I don't really need a Will-O-Wisp at this point because his Pelipper's burned, and I can just click Strange Steam here. As he goes out into the Vikavolt to take the Strange Steam, and it does a pretty solid amount. I'm really shocked that is a 2-co considering how specially bulky I assume this Vikavolt is. But hey, it is. He's probably going to sack it here, but he actually goes on to Pelipper, which is fine. He's just going to take a little bit more damage on this Pelipper here. As I go for Sludge Bomb, I didn't want to actually miss my Strange Steam on Vikavolt. I need to switch out again. I'm going to play a little more defensive this time as I go out into the Rotom to change up my switch-ups. He goes for Scald, which is nice, but he crits me, and he burns me. The first Scald from this Pelipper was a crit burn. That really sucks. You're going to see a little bit later. I really needed health on this Rotom because it helped me take a hit from maybe Haxorus, consistently pivot in on Pelipper, Hitmontop. It would have been really nice, basically, but the fact that he just did that was really annoying. I do get momentum here, which is nice, as I Volt Switch out on this Hitmontop. Because Espeon is gone, and I made that dumb play early, I don't have an offensive way to beat this thing, so I have to go back out into Weezing. That's fine, because he doesn't really have good ways to switch in on this Pokemon. I am Shuka Berry, so I am starting to chip down a bit, but it's still not that bad here. I'm at 69%, lol. I'm just going to click Strange Team as he goes out into Ludicolo, which absolutely shocks me, because I could have clicked Sludge Bomb and did like 60 to 70% there. But he made the play, and it worked out. I'm going to go on to Savali Steel. Because I dropped a Toxic for Flamethrower, I actually don't have a way to touch this thing. He did burn me here again on this first Scald on Ludicolo. That's really annoying as well. It's not at the biggest deal in the world, but it's just like, come on, dude. Because I lost, I put Flamethrower over Toxic. I can't whittle this thing down. I did burn it that turn, which is nice, but it's not really going to matter because he has Leech Seed. And because he has that, he's going to get Recovery. I'm going to Parting Shot, not expecting him to click the Grass move. I can just kind of pivot around this thing a bit. Unfortunately, he does click the Grass move and Giga Drains me. Jim's all up in my head right now. I really wasn't expecting him to do something like that. I do live, which is nice, but I am at really low health. I do want to preserve this thing for a little bit later because Rotom still has some use, unlike Soul Valley, which is basically useless at this point. So I'm just going to sack it out there. I am scared to go out into my Vanillix because I don't want to take any more chip on this thing, and God forbid he crits me because at this point I'm kind of expecting it. I don't want to lose my Vanillix because then I just lose the game. As he's going to get some health back and just stay alive. If he didn't have Leech Seed, this scenario wouldn't be that bad, but because he does have Leech Seed, this scenario is bad. And he goes out into Pelipper on the final turn. My Silvally is alive here and takes nothing from this Flamethrower. So that was a little bit of a slow exchange. But after this turn, because of Burn and Leech Seed, I am going to go down. It is 6-4 currently at the moment. I can get my Vanillix in for me and set back up the Hail and get some weather control up here. As I am going to click the Blizzard here, expecting him to go out on the Hitmontop, but he goes out on the Vigavolt and sacks it. So that's fine. We do get a kill finally. But this sucks because I'm assuming he knows that I'm Scarf at this point, as he can just bring out Pelipper, and I cannot risk the 70% Blizzard on this thing. So I had to go out on the Rotom, and because I got crit and burnt earlier, I'm not going to be able to live this Hurricane. If I didn't get crit earlier, there was probably a good chance I lived that, unless he's really offensive Pelipper. So that sort of sucks. I would have been able to Volt Switch and get more momentum again, but whatever. Vanillix comes in here. I'm going to click Freeze Dry this time, expecting him to sack one of his Ludicolo, but he actually goes on the Hitmontop. And I am timid, I did mention earlier, and because I'm timid, he actually lives this hit, which is bad for me. He didn't even bring Agility Vigavolt, so I should have been modest in every other scenario. I go on the Pod instead of Wheezing, as he just clicks Fake Out, not really a big deal. But this way, I am going to click the First Impression this following turn and just knock out this Hitmontop, which is really nice. I should have clicked Liquidation because I'm assuming Close Combat doesn't put me in emergency exit range. So again, I don't think that was the correct play, but you live and learn. Pelipper comes back out. I don't want to switch in Vanillix on this thing because I'm just scared for my life at this point. I'm hoping he clicks Scald as he does and knocks me into emergency exit. Unfortunately, he doesn't knock me into emergency exit, which is bad. Because now it's kind of obvious that I'm trying to sack this Gliscopod at this point, or at least try to get it out of this matchup, as he's just going to click Hurricane and knock me out. So that kind of sucked there. I wish he would have knocked me in, but it happens. It's 4-2, but Vanillix is going to come back in and get me the free switch in, and I'm going to get my Hail back up. At this point, because Hitmontop and Vigavolt is down, all 4 of his Mons are weak to Freeze Dry, so I can finally click a correct button here, as I do kill off the Ludicolo, which is really nice. And I'm assuming his only real play here is just to send out Pelipper and get Rain back up, and I'm really hoping he does do that, which he does, and I can just continue to just spam Freeze Dry, as Pelipper goes down, and that's really big, because now it's 2-2 again, and his Rain Setter is gone. He's going to bring out Dreadnought, assumingly because it outspeeds me. All I have to do here is sack the Wheezing, and I hope that the Haxorus in the back is not Scarf. With the way he's playing it, I'm kind of assuming it is Scarf, so at this point I think I have lost the battle, but I can still win if it is not. So he's Life Orb Dreadnought, so he's not going to leave the Freeze Dry. I had to click Freeze Dry to knock out this Dreadnought, and it's definitely going to knock out because Dreadnought is not that bulky on the special side. I do get Weather Control, which is really nice. And here's the thing. I mentioned earlier that I am Timid Vanillix. Because I'm Timid Vanillix, Freeze Dry has a 56.3% chance to knock out Haxorus if he's got no bulk. So the question is, are we going to knock out this Haxorus? We do not knock out this Haxorus, and unfortunately he is going to pick up the KO with Earthquake. And we're going to lose this game 1-0 in an extremely close battle. And if we had one more Pokemon, we would have won this game basically, but we didn't. GG to my opponent, Jim. I could have played so much better in this game. This is one of the worst played games I've had in quite a bit, ever since Haunch. And it's really unfortunate considering we started off the PTL making some god plays week 1 and been playing very well overall. It was just pretty unfortunate. I could have tweaked my prep a little bit more. If I was Modest Vanillix and I played it out the same, I probably would have won the game. Banned Gliscopod just wasn't the move whatsoever, so there's stuff I could have done better. While the hacks wasn't really ideal, it wasn't really the biggest thing in the world either. It was just some salt in the wound and motivational things. It's kind of really it has Scald Burn me every time, but again, I don't think it really mattered too much, and I take mostly all the blame for this loss. But again, GG to my opponent, Jim. Thank you for the battle. We are going to move down to a 6-2 record with +7 differential. The GOAT Crusaders in the Sword Division are now 29-11, I believe. So that is a little update for you guys. Next week, we are facing off against Ellie, coach of the Shanghai Dragons. She has a Dracofish, and unlike my other teams, my Dracofish switching on this team doesn't exist. that is going to be next week's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like a Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.